For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in. 30 minutes of time-wasting fun. A celebrity guest will be joining us a little bit later in the show. Maestro Fresh Wes has a new kids book out, inspiring the younger generation and giving a shout-out to teachers. We're going to talk with Maestro coming up in just a little bit, and I also feel that technology is making us stupid. I don't need you to tell me I'm right or wrong. I know that that is fact. You know that your math skills aren't as good as they were when you were in school. You know that your memory isn't as good. You know you don't remember people's phone numbers anymore. You don't remember their birthdays. And I will also tell you, you can't disagree with me because I am right. And also, the series finale of Mom aired on CBS Thursday night. What did you think? Do you feel like shows are going out the way they should? Is there, when you know that the show is canceled and they've got time to, have the lead up in the big finale? You remember the Seinfeld finale? Everybody was pissed off with that one. How do you think a show should go out? Should they end on a cliffhanger? Because then maybe there's a chance they'll bring it back, right? I don't know. We'll talk about the Mom finale. It's a busy show, and it starts right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. The Mom series finale was Thursday night on CBS, and I feel like I have a connection to this show, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I don't like to say that celebrities are my friends and things like that, because I don't know. I'm on a first name basis with a lot of them, but I'm just not hanging out and whatever. So, I've got phone numbers, I've got email addresses, might reach out, with like a happy birthday or congrats on the win or, whatever it might be. And I've always loved the show Mom because Allison Janney has been a friend to our syndicated radio shows for many years, since she was on Broadway doing 9 to 5. That was the very first time. I don't even know how it came about, but we basically had separate interviews with the 4 lead cast members of the show. We were covering Broadway. I don't know what happened. And I remember chatting with the 4 of them. And for me at the time, I was just kind of starting out doing celebrity interviews, but it was a really big deal. These are Broadway stars, right? That's a huge deal when you're an aspiring entertainment reporter and celebrity interviewer. And Allison was so gracious and generous with her time to talk to me that, they were getting ready for a show. They were in their dressing rooms, whatever, and here she is just chatting away. And then we continued when she got Mom on CBS, and her and it's Anna Faris. This whole Anna, it's Anna, okay? That's like I've got a friend named Elissa, YSSA, and she says my name is Eliza. No, SSA. It's Elissa, because your mom's name is Marissa. You're not going to have Marissa and Liza. Anyway, so when Allison started on Mom, again, we did some interviews, we chatted, and she's been on the radio with me many times. And so that's where I kind of sort of feel protective of a show like Mom on CBS. And then all of a sudden when Anna went and quit, and she left, days before the new season, everybody was just like, oh, crap. And I'm pretty sure the cast, and I haven't had a conversation with any of them, but I'm sure the cast was like, writing's on the wall. Like, she was, like, I've always felt that Allison is the star of the show, but, and it's just like, that's it. Then the whole dynamic has shifted, where you don't have, the whole premise is she's living with her mom. That's the mom. So now you're the mom to nobody on the show, right? Like, they reference her character, but it's just not the same. And so I think pretty quickly everybody sort of realized, all right, well, this is the end. When she leaves, it's just not a show that can carry on. It would be like Three's Company, I don't know. I was going to say Jack leaving Three's Company, or Al Bundy leaving Married with Children, or, whoever, Fran Drescher leaving The Nanny. You're just kind of like, well, how do you do it now then, And so I was interested to see how they were going to wrap up the finale, right? And we're actually even doing this with my radio shows. Earlier in the year, we announced that after 15 years on the radio, my show, Top of the Charts, is ending. Well, was going to be ending in April. And people are still asking, like, oh, well, when's your last show airing? Oh, didn't you? I thought you're already off the radio. Well, no, we're dragging this out. We're longer than the frickin' Cher farewell tour. And here's why, is that I haven't felt comfortable in the time that we've been working on things. Like, I haven't felt comfortable in the way we're going out. I'm just not happy with it. Now, of course, my decision is I can keep doing the show if I want. I mean, obviously, a big TV network is like, there's millions of dollars on the line, we're cutting the show. For me, I was like, okay, fine, I'll agree to do it, because I want the last show to be memorable. Whether that's memorable for the listeners or memorable for me, it just needs to stand out as being something different. We had a whole bunch of different ideas that we bounced around. Some of them were some of them were okay. And then if they don't come through, then I don't want to sort of settle for something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be a little bit different. And so now I think that we've kind of locked into something that I'm going to be happy with going out. And I feel really ripped off for the people, for the cast, well, for everybody who works on Mom, or did work on Mom, the show's done now, that, it's kind of weird. Now, I also think that over the past couple seasons, they've brought in too many characters, and, there's all these different storylines. And I realize even at the beginning of that show, right, they had the young kids on there, and then they basically fired them and then focused on the grown-up relationships. I don't know which was right or wrong. I mean, it was entertaining nonetheless, but still, it changed the dynamic of the show. And so, over the last little while, I think it's just that the show has run its course. And going back to me on the radio is that after 15 years, I feel like Ellen, right? She just made that big announcement after leaving of 19 years. Oh, it's not challenging anymore, whatever. You just sort of, you feel it's time. But when it's a TV show and you don't make that decision, right? It's the higher-ups, it's the suits, it's the, the execs. And they just tell you you're done, you're out of a job, right? Different in, well, mine and Ellen's cases. Yeah. So what did you think of the Mom finale? And I think that maybe people have even been tuning out. It'll be interesting to see. You're listening to this now Friday morning. The ratings have not come out yet, so we don't know, how the show did. You would expect a series finale. They're hyping it up a little bit. Would draw some good numbers. Really, it's moot at that. I mean, the show's canceled, so, who cares? But, yeah, I'd be interested to see. They come out, the ratings come out at about between 10 and 11 Central every morning, so it's not, we still have about an hour or so until then. But anyway, tell me your thoughts on the Mom series finale live at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. Is there something wrong with my microphone? Hold on, everybody here. Just wait a second, because right as I started talking, I just saw on the screen it jump up. Are we okay? All right. All right, there we go. Never mind then. Well, that actually segues into what I was about to talk about, and the idea that technology is making us all stupid. I'm not breaking any news here. I'm guessing you rely on technology more than you did, let's say 10, 15 years ago. Case in point, all right? I used to, as a kid, remember every family member's birthday. And I'm talking about my brothers, I'm talking about my parents, I'm talking about my cousins, I'm talking about my grandparents. It was just something that I remembered. Now, keep in mind that when you're a kid, you don't have very much stuff to remember, right? Not like you're an adult and you've got to remember when to pay bills and when to get the kids to blah, blah, blah on time and when to... So yeah, as a kid, it's easy to remember Mom's birthday is in July and Dad's is November 10th and blah, blah, blah. But as you get older... So this is where I don't know if it's an age thing or we're just more dependent on technology. So I do remember. So I still remember my brothers and my parents, right? Because those are just I've remembered them. Okay, do we have an issue with the microphone or not? I don't know. There's something really weird happening on my screen. I hope you can still hear me. Good. All right. But I remember my parents and my brothers' birthdays because I've celebrated them, my entire life. So it's just one of those things that's easy for me to remember. My grandma, she just died, but I know, like, in April. There's just some key people that you remember. But when it comes to, like, let's say my nephews, I or your coworker or your employee or your friend or whatever it is. So there's some of them, yes, that you absolutely remember. And maybe because it's just an easy date to remember. Like my one friend is May 31st. I just remember that. And then I know another friend is exactly 6 months after mine, like to the day. I'm on the 1st, he's on the 1st. So, those ones are easy to remember. But with technology now, right, you just put a reminder in your phone. And I actually do have a reminder because, again, I'm not one of those people who's looking at the calendar and going, oh, right, it's a couple days before Mom's birthday. I have that reminder. I know it's July 7th, but I just still put something on the phone. So it's not like all of a sudden it pops up on my phone, Mom birthday, and now I'm scrambling and screwed because I didn't get or anything, right? So I know when the days are. It's just I'm not connecting those dots. I'm not putting it together. And thankfully now with Facebook, you have it remind you, it lets you know when somebody's birthday is today or whatever it is. Now, it always sort of seems too little too late, right? I almost kind of want to get a jump on it and text you or whatever the day before. So it's not that I was just reminded on Facebook that it's your birthday. But yeah, we don't have to remember as much anymore. Think about phone numbers. Again, I remember my parents' phone number because it's been the same since I lived at home. I haven't lived with them for over 13 years, but they've had the same phone number since I was a kid. So at least... I would say, well, at least 38 years then. I don't know that they've ever changed their phone number, and my two brothers are in their 40s already. So, they had the same phone number for 40 years. I remember that number, right? Because I dialed it how many times before I got a cell phone. I do remember their cell phone number because they actually had it similar, like it's kind of weird. Like, before we had to dial 10 digits, we had to dial 7 numbers, right? So actually the last 6 numbers of their phone number are the same. So my dad did that on purpose, so it was easy for people to remember the cell phone. Good on him. He remembers it. And that's the only reason that I remember their cell phone number. My two brothers, like, what's their cell phone number? What's their home phone number? Not a clue. I think my one brother starts, like, 809 as the first 3 numbers, but other than that, or it's 8 something. But I don't need to remember, right? Because I rely on my phone. But this is where, you get screwed, right? If all of a sudden your phone dies or just zonks out on you, right? Maybe your phone just I'm not saying battery dies. I'm saying your phone is kaput. Your phone is done. And, if you don't have a backup and you've lost everybody's numbers and information, that's pretty bad too, isn't it? Right? So, and then on top of that, so anyway, just in terms of technology making us dumber, what about your writing? What about your handwriting, your printing? I find now that even when I just jot, I've talked about this on the show, I jot on Post-it notes in front of me and I leave notes about things to talk about or things to mention or whatever on the show. Even just filling out a small Post-it note, I feel like my hand is cramping up. Or even if I'm just writing, let's say it's 3, when you get a birthday card at the office or whatever and you got to sign it. I always do something funny and stupid, so I do a fair bit of writing in it. I don't just put, happy birthday, JB. Like, I go funny. I go offensive. And even that, just writing like a note like that, I'm sitting there going, oh my God, my hand is hurting. But when you flip back to when you were in elementary school, now again, I'm talking to people of my generation, right? When you had to write on the paper, maybe they still do it in school, I don't know. But I was able to write, 8 pages in English. If I would write a short story or whatever, I would just be going, and no hand cramp. I used to get that little dot on my ring finger on my right hand. I'm right-handed. You know what I'm saying? You used to get that bump, that little lump on the knuckle kind of thing. That's how you knew you were writing a long time. To me, that was always a sign of I did a lot of work. Really. And now, even just now, like when I was jotting the notes about what to talk about, I have to sort of almost squint. Not because I'm old, but squint because I can't read it. It's just illegible. Like, I don't even know what it... And I just wrote it a few minutes ago. Somebody said to me, you write like you're a doctor. Remember when you get a prescription and your doctor has such scribbly sort of writing and somehow the pharmacist understands it when you hand the paper? That's the kind of writing I have. Ironic that I am a writer, but I guess I'm more of a typer now. Do we have to change the word? Author, I guess, is the better one to do it. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying, though, is our handwriting is just gone to crap. a couple of days ago, my mom had come by. And she brought me, that we're still going through my grandma's house. My grandma died from corona last year, and so the house is going up for sale, and things are being given away, like donated. Families taking a bunch of things, and my mom had found some schoolwork that I had somehow, I guess I gave to my grandma. I don't know. And there was like a springtime book that I had made, and then a couple different things. And my mom gave me this, and she said to me, because she's still in touch with the teachers. She was a teacher at the school, my elementary school, for 30 years, and she's still in touch with some of the teachers from when I was a kid. And so she took a picture of it, and she sent it to the teacher that I had, like the class that I was in. She sent it to that teacher. Isn't that weird? All these years later, like my mom is still in touch with my grade 2 teacher. Anyway, she sent the picture of it to the teacher, and the teacher was like, "What nice penmanship or pencilmanship or writing or cursive or whatever." I didn't see the text. My mom just told me. And then they had some back and forth discussion, right? My mom just getting out of the education system now, and then that other teacher had retired many years ago. And my mom said, like, yeah, kids can't write like that now. I had one, its and its. I should have had an apostrophe in the its. It's something about, like, it's springtime. Well, again, if I was in grade 2, I mean, hey, bottom line was I could still print. That's what you're learning really in grade 2 is printing and, how to start to handwrite. And so I look at that and go, I had nicer writing when I was in, single digits, when I was 8 years old, 7 years, I don't know, however old you are at that grade. And now that I'm 30-something, it has declined. And even still, I've talked about this. Do we have to go? I wasted too much time at the beginning with our microphone trouble or whatever was going on the screen. Let me just quickly wrap this up by saying, every Remembrance Day, Veterans Day for Americans, but Remembrance Day in Canada, I would sit down with my dogs and we write letters to the troops overseas. Now, people make fun of this, and before you judge, you need to hear the whole story. And they're already going, we don't have time for this story. Tim, let me do this. No, it's actually a really nice story. The first year that I did it when I had my 2 dogs, so we've been doing this about 8-9 years, is I sit down at the living room table, and because that's a holiday for me, and people sort of, thumb their nose, well, it's a day off work, and that's how people see it. I've always decided that I want to do something nice. So on Remembrance Day, November 11th, what I do is I end up sitting at the coffee table in the living room, and I write letters to the troops overseas from my dogs, though. And so, I'm not kidding you. And so what I do is I write something like, oh, hi, Mr. or Mrs. Hero. My name is Ernie. I'm a golden retriever from Winnipeg. And yeah, on the surface, it probably sounds really stupid. But so I physically handwrite a full sheet of paper. So you want to talk about getting a hand cramp after a Post-it. That day, kills my hand. But I get a good feeling doing it. Right? You get sort of just that warm kind of feeling. Like, you know what? It's a 50-50 shot if they're going to look at this and go, that's really cute, or they're going to look at that and go, who the fuck is this guy? What is this guy writing as a dog? And so what I do is I write it out as them. I put little paw print, I draw a little paw print, and then the dogs will either make paw print paintings. Not kidding you. We lay out tarp and towels and everything all over the kitchen floor. And the dogs will put their paws in the paint and then put it on paper. And so we'll either send paintings or we have a picture of one of the dogs that says hero and one that says thank you. And so the dogs look really happy. And so we send a picture of the dogs, a painting, or a painting, and then this handwritten letter. And really just asks where are you from in Canada? What is your job? Do you like it? How long have you been there? Again, it's like you'd get from a child. Well, little did I know that the first year we got responses from almost everybody. And so, again, you can sort of go, oh, my God, that's stupid. But they get the letters around Christmas time. And if you're away from your family and everything at Christmas, and you're far away. It's not like you're just corona distance in the same city, right? These people are overseas. And this past year, maybe because of corona, we got the most responses. We send about between 8 to 10 letters every year. We got, I think, 5 or 6. And we don't address it to anybody in particular. It's just sent out. And it's just really nice because our replies come into the new year anyway, right? We get them throughout January and maybe beginning of February just because of the way the mail goes. But so my point is that day of sitting and writing, I mean, try writing, seriously, 10 pages handwritten with a pen. If you're an adult, if you're in your 30s, 40s, if you're in my generation, you probably had no problem doing that back in the day. And today, it's just like, oh my God. And then I also find that once I'm like really in it, like once I'm going and I'm halfway down the page, it's just getting sloppier and sloppier. And so then what I started to do was I just started to print. I was like, I'm not even going to handwrite because now it's just getting bad, so I'm going to print. And even then, it just looks sloppy. And I find that I'm mixing up letters. No problem typing out an entire book, right? A 400-page book. You don't just do it in one shot. But what I'm saying is you don't go back because your fingers just know the letters. You just know where to go. But yet, for some reason, putting the pen to the paper and my brain is like, I don't know the orders of the letters when I'm writing it. Like, it's so bizarre. But that goes back to the whole thing about technology, making us stupid. And just, we don't know as much when it comes to, remembering the dates or phone numbers or important things like that. I always laughed in high school about, well, why do I need to know math? I've got a calculator. Well, now, you've got a calculator everywhere. You got it on your phone. You've got it on your computer. You don't have to lug around, I remember it was so cool to get a scientific calculator. Meanwhile, I had no idea 90%, 95% of those buttons on that thing because I wasn't a nerd. I was in the arts. So tell me your thoughts live at jbonair.com. Tim is like, you're 5 minutes over. Thank you, Tim. We'll be right back on The Scribble.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
You know him as Canada's godfather of hip-hop, and now Maestro Fresh Wes is inspiring a new generation with his kids' book. We might need a new nickname. Godfather of hip-hop, I don't know. Do something with the literary world. We'll brainstorm together, okay, Maestro?
Sounds good. How you doing, Jeff?
Oh, how's it going?
I'm doing well, man. Just blessed to still be here, advancing, doing different things as we go forth and forward. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. This must be just an exciting time because, you know what, I know that you're always kind of, not reinventing yourself, but you're always looking for the next big project and way to inspire people.
And this book right here is a part of that, man. So, yeah, like when I came up with the idea to do it, I just feel it's the right time, man. And shout out to my co-author, Bedora Melton Vanderpool, as well as my illustrator, Leon Eclipse Robinson, who I just found out he got shortlisted for an award in Hamilton, an arts award. So, he definitely did something right with the book.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, great illustrations in it. If anybody hasn't seen even just the cover in the back, it's great. And while you're name dropping, I mean, you've got some pretty big names connected to your books. Books, plural, right? Cardinal, Chuck D.
Yeah, well, Chuck D wrote the foreword for my very first book.
Yeah.
And that was Stick to Your Vision, How to Get Past the Hurdles and the Haters to Get to Where You Want to Be. And then this one here, I got my brother Cardinal off the show to write the foreword for this one. So it's almost like Chuck D was my mentor coming up. And I was one of the Cardinal's mentors coming up. So I think it's a good little system right there that I got going on with the two brothers,
It is. And why is reaching kids important to you, right? Because you've been involved with some kids' charities, I know, for quite some time. Why do you target the younger demographic? Like, you really, really want to lift them up and boost them up?
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious, man. I mean, children are the future.
Right.
And especially in times like this, they've been, I feel disregarded in a lot of ways. So they're the future, and, in terms of doing music and doing projects like that, it's good to get new fans, new people knowing you, what have you. And the kids. For me, doing presentations at high schools and colleges. When I started doing elementary schools, just to see the response, especially from the younger students, showed me that this is something that could happen, and they need to get that encouragement, especially right now when they're in like remote learning and the world has changed, and there's no way of any specific point of reference for us as adults, teachers, or parents to even show them, well, this is what happened 10 years ago, or this is what happened when I was a kid. No, there's no point of reference. So we're all going through this together. Nobody's 100% okay, and kids are the ones that we got to really look out for. We got to be more attentive
You know, it's interesting. You talk about, you know, you use the term just as I do, you know, when I was a kid. I mean, it seems so long ago now, just in terms of how technology has changed music, right? I mean, I'm not even talking about, you know, cyberbullying or the pandemic or anything. Like, even just the music industry has changed. I mean, I remember loving, you know, choir and band and learning music, and I took piano lessons, and there was just something so great about experiencing the arts like that. And so now it's sad to hear that schools are cutting back. I mean, again, pandemic aside, you know, it's sad to hear that schools are cutting back on music and the funding and things like that. So it's really a different time now for those kids.
It is a different time. Like, you know, I came up, you know, my mom's got me into piano playing as a kid. I went to piano lessons and stuff like that. And it wasn't necessarily something that I liked that much, but it was something that I did. And that inspired me to some capacity to get my son into like Taekwondo, because when you look at the patterns in Taekwondo, they're very similar to patterns in piano playing. It's like and the one thing that's universally applicable, Jeremy, is like repetition will always help your preparation. That could be applied for you, like school tests, that could be applied for if you're playing basketball, like, you know, you got to work on your shot pocket, you got to work on your layups. But the more you do it, it'll help your preparation. So, I think that's very important too to look at.
It's interesting when you get that new perspective. I remember, you know, going in college through journalism, and I hated composition and grammar class. You know, there's just nothing more boring than composition and grammar. But as you would know, when you start writing a book, or when you're, you know, if you have a job at a newspaper like I did, you get that new appreciation and go, you know what, this is fascinating stuff. And I think music, as much as like you say, at times I hated taking piano and learning it. It was just, once you get it though, it just opens up a new opportunity for you.
Definitely. So, you know, I mean, all we can do is just try to be as encouraging as we possibly can at these times, man. So, and I hope people gravitate towards the new project. I'm loving it. The response, I've been well received. I mean, they're well received.
Absolutely. So quickly then, tell us about Young Maestro and then the storyline of Young Maestro Goes to School.
That's a good question. So basically, the book is emphasizes the importance of family structure, mentorship, hip-hop, as well as inspirational elementary school teachers. Now, the reason why I laughed when I said mentorship is because a part of the book, like, you know, the kid is going to school, and one of his good friends is his mentor named Greg. Well, that's a true story. You know, Greg has my friend Greg, DJ Greg. DJ Greg is my very first DJ. And he goes by DJ G Nice right now. But the reason I chuckled, Jeremy, is because I got a radio show here in St. John called Maestro in the Maritimes, and every week I have a new DJ mixing, right? So this specific week, it just so happens to be my man DJ Greg, who I've known since I was 5, and he was 8. So he's been a mentor to me all my life, you know, and it just so happened to be he's the one DJing on this show. So I think that's important. I think hip-hop is definitely important, and just to show the importance of growth, to show the importance of apprenticeship. We started from the bottom, and now we're here. You know, that's what happened with me in real life. And it's dope, man, definitely.
And I think it's great, too, the shout-out to teachers, because, well, I mean, like you say, about remote learning and all this stuff, I mean, teachers are also having to really, really go that extra mile nowadays.
Listen, I got a lot of friends who are teachers, man. A lot of them are going through a lot of stuff right now. A lot of, you know, depressing times, too, for them. So, because their job, they miss those kids. They miss seeing the eyes of those kids, those students. And that's a whole different lane. We think of the students, we think of the parents, of course, but as well as the, you know, teachers as well. You know, we're all going through this in one capacity or the other.
Absolutely, and sometimes we just need that positive distraction. And so the book, again, everybody, is called Stick to Your Vision, Young Maestro Goes to School. And Maestro Fresh Wes, the legend, I can use that, right? The legend, joining us on the line. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it, Jeremy.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
All right, my name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. That email address, one more time, live@jbonair.com. Do you think technology is making us stupider? And what did you think of the Mom series finale? Any TV finale, how do you think they go out? Sometimes you almost just wish they were canceled and that there is no resolution to it, right? Because again, I mentioned Seinfeld earlier. I'm getting pissed off again. All right, so you know what? Let's leave it at that. I will talk to you same time, same place next week. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,